How do you style multiple elements at the same time? So let's say I have a heading over here and I have another one, and I want to style these at the same time, meaning like I want to change their font sizes or font family or whatever, background color. So how do I do that? So this is done with something called CSS, which is cascading style sheets. And Web Digital makes it really, really easy. So there are a few ways that you can accomplish this. CSS has something called selectors that allow you to control which elements you want to target with a given rule. And we're going to be doing that now. So let's say we want to say, all headings, wherever I use any heading, I want the font size to be 24 pixels. How do I do that? So I can just come over to the CSS. So this is in the component. This is the root component. I'm going to add a CSS module to the component, and I'm going to add a rule. Now, this is the important part, the selector. So what am I targeting? So by default, these are H1 elements. So I can just say I'm going to be targeting all H1 elements like this, which is heading 1. And you can go into the typography and change the size. You can see both of them are changing at the same time. And whenever I add another one over here, it's going to be the same size wherever it is. So that's the rule that we put in that basically says anytime that you see heading 1, that's going to be, with this style. I want this style to affect it. And let's say we have another heading over here, and we only want to impact this one and this one, but not this one. How do we do that? So that's accomplished using something called classes. So you go to the heading 1, and under CSS tab of the element. Remember, before we went to the CSS tab of the component. So the CSS tab of the component shows you the CSS style sheets for a given component. But when you go to the element level, the CSS tab for the element is quite different. It basically shows you what are the classes that you have assigned to the element that lets you that allow you to be able to target multiple elements at the same time, and also which rules are affecting this element. You can see that over here. You can see, for example, we had used the heading 1 rule over here. That's obviously impacting that. So we can come over here and we can delete this rule for now. And this warning is fine. It's basically just saying that it doesn't exist anymore. So now we have back to the defaults. So now I'm going to come over here under CSS. Let's call this my heading. So I'm going to be adding that. And by default, it automatically adds a rule for this class. You can see there is a dot before the class name that I gave to the element. And it's basically saying, hey, you gave a class to the element, so you probably want to create a rule for this. And that's what we're going to be doing. So let's say typography, 40 pixels or whatever. So obviously, in this case, it's only affecting this element because this is the only element that we gave the class to. So my heading. So I can come over here, let's say this one, and I'm going to give the same class over here, and there you go. So whatever class I give to a particular element, now it's going to be taking that effect from the rule that we created over here. And this is the gist of the CSS styling. I mean, most of the time you will use either classes or tag types, but most of the time it's just classes. And there is very many variations, very many details of this rule selectors. So this is the important part, the rule selectors, CSS selectors. And there are many documents on the internet about these. You can target elements using IDs, ancestors, siblings, parents, many different ways. But this is really the gist of it. Like 90 to 95% of the time, all you're going to be doing is add a class to one or more elements, and then you just create the rule and you target them, and that's how web development works. All right, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching.